Now, I was super fortunate to have a great research team at Public Safety Canada. I had fabulous upper management support for my work over the years on STICS, from my immediate director at the time, Bob Cormier, going up to Mary Campbell, Sean Tupper as Assistant Deputy Minister. These people were very supportive. But the team was also fabulous because I had two great psychologists working with me, Tanya Ruggie and Guy Bourgon. These two people were with me all through the various STICS studies, and we put together a training model that we thought would help probation officers follow the RNR principles more closely. Here's just a sample of our training modules. This was a 3-day training program. We had a module on differential supervision, really emphasizing why it's important to devote your resources to the higher risk client rather than the low risk client. Follow the risk principle. Criminogenic needs, the importance of it, and we really emphasize these pro-criminal attitudes and thinking as something that needed to change. Building rapport. Many times cognitive behavioral therapists are seen as cold, mechanical therapists. But an important component is the building of rapport, a relationship between the treatment provider and the client. If you can't build a positive rapport with your client, they're not going to listen. They completely ignore what you're going to say. And so we go on with teaching cognitive restructuring, which I mentioned before. And the last one, I'll just make a little note of this here. Strategic supervision. Here is an example of responsivity in action at an organizational level. Strategic supervision means providing the supervision that is matched to where the client is during this probationary period, right? When you first start probation, you don't say to the client, okay, I'm gonna show you how to do cognitive restructuring. No, you're not gonna do that. You need to first build a rapport. You need to become collaborative on what you want to do. And then you move on to more cognitive behavioral types of interventions. So we had this great plan to modify the intervention depending on where the client is in supervision. We also recognize a 3-day training program or 4 days isn't going to bring the probation officer up to the skill level that we really need. So we had ongoing skill development and through various mechanisms, right? The learning never ends. So here we are, right? The team at Public Safety Canada puts together this training model. We have exercises, ongoing supervision, skill development. then we had to test it. Now recall the study in Manitoba that showed that there's room for improvement in following the RNR principles. We were able to enlist the support of 3 provinces to allow us to test this model. The 3 provinces were British Columbia out on the Pacific coast, Saskatchewan, a prairie province and pretty well in the middle of the country, and Prince Edward Island off towards the Atlantic coast, relatively small province. So senior management said, we would like to participate. We went out and enlisted volunteer probation officers, and we told these probation officers, listen, this is a randomized experiment. Some of you are going to get the training and others won't, right? So everyone was a volunteer, and that's okay for this evaluation because of random assignment. There were volunteers in the control group and volunteers in the training group, STICS group. Everyone was asked to audio record their findings, and they were also asked to select medium to high risk clients, right? Low risk clients were excluded from the study, right? We wanted to follow the risk principle. So what did we find? What we found is what we had expected, right? The train group showed changes on what was important, the focus on attitudes, criminogenic needs, less focus on non-criminogenic needs. You see the control group there spending little time on attitudes, more time on non-criminogenic needs. Look at the skills. We saw evidence through the audio recordings of using cognitive behavioral techniques more frequently than the control group. So what we see on these results from the audio recordings is that the probation officer's behavior had changed. Now, what about the clients? What happened with the clients? We followed the clients up over a 2-year period. And remember, these are medium to high risk clients, and we found a reduction in recidivism. Right, the control group, it was 39.5% recidivated after 2 years, a new conviction, and the control, the train group, the STICS group, was 25%. So from that study, we started the training in about 2007 or so. By the time we did the recidivism follow-up, we found it was published in 2010, in 2011 in the journal. So the results of that one experiment were promising, but for us at Public Safety Canada, it led to a problem. We received requests to help a number of other jurisdictions develop STICS in their agencies. We had in Canada, we had Alberta, Correctional Service of Canada, Ontario. We even had international interest, Denmark and Sweden. And we did provide some assistance to these different jurisdictions. We couldn't do full-fledged experiments everywhere. We did one in Alberta. But the one I want to describe now is, I think, our most important study.